Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist and a licensed mental health counselor. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the contents in this channel. I'd love to start by wishing everyone a happy new year 2023, and I would love to thank my subscribers for the support, for the kindness, for the mindful comments that you'll always leave behind, for the intelligent discussions we have in our comment section. I would love to thank all my subscribers for having patience to be with me. The reason that I started this channel was for mental health purpose. My aim is to spread mental health awareness on YouTube and on social media platforms. As a cognitive behavior therapist and as a mental health counselor, I find mental health to be a really important subject. If you turn around anywhere in the world, and if you check the news everywhere in the world, you would notice that many crimes, severe crimes, are going on. Many of these severe crimes, not all of them, but many of them have to do with mental health illness or drug addiction, alcohol addiction, other serious drugs like meth, heroin, cocaine, and so on, fentanyl. So there are many people who suffer of hidden mental health illness that will say they're not aware that they're suffering of a mental health illness and they ignore it. So, by not getting treatment for your mental health problem or issue, this will just lead into further serious mental health issues that can end up in leaving the person in a bad position that would be maybe not safe for the person, like becoming suicidal or having suicidal thoughts. At the same time, this can leave the society and public in danger too. So the aim is to spread mental health awareness so that in future, when we see red flags in a person, or if we see a person struggling with mental health issues and are not seeking help, it's our job to make sure, or not make sure, to advise that person, whether it's a family or friends, support them to seek mental health advice. CBT, cognitive behavior therapist, is mostly about we work with different clients who have different issues or disorders. But we do work with domestic violence victims, we work with SCX offenders, we work with clients who have personality disorders, who have behavior disorders. We work with people who have emotional disorders. We work with couples counseling, like couples before they decide to divorce or stay together, or or whatsoever is going on in their relationship. Some of them prefer to save their relationship by coming down to a couples counseling and talking about the issues that the partner and them are having. Then we have different kind of therapies and different kind of skills for us to approach the problem that the issue the person is having. And today's topic for me is about antisocial personality disorder. It's a personality disorder. And the reason I wanted to touch a bit on this subject is because we have this case that we all are following from Idaho, the 4 murders, the quadruple murders that happened in Idaho on the 13th of November. 4 students were slain in their house, 1122 Kings Road. This was a brutal murder. It took 7 weeks for the FBI and law enforcement to catch the alleged killer, whose name is Bryan Kohberger. Many people are speculating if he is a psychopath or sociopath and all. And we don't use those terms anymore in mental health. It's not supposed to be used. Psychopath is not a term to use. We use antisocial personality disorder. It is a disorder. It's a mental health illness. According to the DSM-5, that is where we get all our guidelines in mental health. And we get we get all the rules, regulations in mental health, and when you're doing assessment, you use the DSM-5. The DSM-5 is basically the guideline to counseling, to mental health. So I think there's over 200 mental health disorders, if not more, and there are more and more that are being researched. So all of them should be in the DSM-5. The DSM-5 gives us more guidelines. It gives us a better insight. So as mental health counselors, we use the DSM. We're supposed to follow the DSM-5. People with antisocial personality disorder are symptoms they usually have that you will see is some of the symptoms: lack of empathy, zero remorse. They don't take accountability for what they have done. You will hardly see them doing that. Violence can be an issue with them, a lot of aggression. I'm not saying all of them, I'm saying most of them or some of them. So they could have rage issues, anger issues, and such things that come into factor. And then usually they are sent over to anger management. And that's a part of what we do, what I do as a CBT therapist. And we've heard that allegedly Mr. Bryan Kohberger has suffered of rage and aggression. He used to be bullied as a child, as a young boy, and then for his weight, then allegedly he lost those kilos and he started being the bully. He started bullying after being bullied. So it was a pattern in a way. And then he lost weight. As soon as he lost weight, he started trying to pick on people to have fights, even his friends who did not want to fight him. So that he just had rage. I'm not saying that Bryan Kohberger is or has antisocial personality disorder, but I'm saying the way I look at it, it could be possible. It could be schizophrenia, it could be antisocial personality disorder, it could be any disorder. But I've said it right from the start, before saying Bryan, whoever did this murder is a person who's a psychopath, who has an antisocial personality disorder. Because to do such a horrific crime, it'll only make sense that you have no empathy and no remorse. Symptoms that you can notice of people who have antisocial personality disorder is they're very impulsive, very irresponsible, very manipulative, liars, they lie a lot, they're very charming, uh, they have, not all of them, but most of them have that narcissistic trait, that character, the narcissistic character. They like to be leaders, they like to sit in positions with authority, they like to make the last decision. Not all of them, but most of them, even the ones that I've come across, uh, they're very responsible. And people with antisocial personality disorder, this is not to make them look bad, but most likely they end up in prison. It's a known fact. Because they never follow the law. That's another symptom of antisocial personality disorder. But like, just I'll give you an example. You see toddlers who can be playing a bit rough or can be running wild and running loose and all. Just because they're showing such behavior, it could be that they're trying to get their parents' attention or they're trying to do it in a wrong way. But that doesn't mean that they're antisocial personality disorder. Usually, you can see it from children when they're in their teenage years. You can obviously see they could be when they're 10 years old and all, but you get to see it more. To diagnose someone with antisocial personality disorder these days, I believe personally, and it's a known fact in mental health, that there's a lot of overdiagnosis. People are just diagnosing people without taking a proper health assessment, mental health assessment, especially in illness or disorders like antisocial personality disorder. It's proven fact that there is more research, plenty more research should be done about mental health illnesses, especially even nerves, neurological illnesses, because antisocial personality disorder or uh yeah, antisocial personality disorder is a neurological disorder actually. Psychopathic, even the psychopathy is a neurological or disorder. So they usually say that people can get it through genetics or people can get it through different things like environment factors. Example like child behavior problems, antisocial disorder parents, potentially leading to poor parental management strategies. Another one is parental substance use. So, like the child who lives in such an environment with their parents abusing drugs, or where if they see, just say, one of the parents being violent to the other parent, like domestic violence, parents who have untreated mental health issues, those are the environment factors. Children who have grown up in abuse and neglect, children who have grown up with poor quality in the early care, disorganized attachment. So there's many things that can, the etiology can lead to mental health problems like antisocial behavior. I'm not saying it has to, but most likely it does lead to. It is a known fact that men are diagnosed more for antisocial personality disorder than women, and that's what research and studies have said. And it is true because I see more male clients than women clients. And it has been said before that people with antisocial personality disorder, many of them have one thing. No, two things actually that I've noticed per se, which studies even has proven that. That is, some people, I believe personally, even get antisocial personality disorder due to abuse of serious drugs like cocaine, heroin, and all these meth and such things. they usually end up getting antisocial personality disorder, schizophrenia, such things. That's why it's really important for teenagers and young adults to be advised to stay away from serious drugs and to stay away from alcohol abuse and such things. Addictions lead into serious mental health problems, it's known. Studies show another thing, that people who have people who have antisocial personality disorder usually suffer of something called comorbidity. That means they just don't suffer of one illness like antisocial personality disorder. They don't just suffer of ASPD, they could have ASPD and ADHD. Example. They could have antisocial personality disorder, ASPD, and they could have PTSD, or they could suffer of anxiety. They could suffer of other comorbidities. So that is why it's important when practitioners are diagnosing people for ASPD, they need to be very careful and make sure that they do the research of the client very well to make sure that the client isn't suffering of another comorbidity disorder. And after that, they find that out and they're diagnosed for both of the disorders, then the treatment plan comes in. But if I compare compare ASPD, or not compare, if I speculation wise think that Bryan Kohberger has ASPD, I've said that from start. This is only my personal meaning. I've seen from the start many things that usually show that he has it. One example is lack of empathy, lack of sympathy, lack of remorse, lack of accountability. Because now he's saying that he's pleading not guilty, basically. So he doesn't have any remorse for the family, the loved ones of the victims. He doesn't have any remorse for anyone, basically, besides himself. Another thing, these are all my personal opinions. Another reason that I believe that he suffers of antisocial personality disorder is usually people with antisocial personality disorder will manipulate, deceive, lie, everything to get their way. Whether it's a friend, whether it's a family, whoever it is, they really don't care, especially when they're on drugs, because they have a lot of addictions too. That's why they end up getting charged and being locked up. It's a known fact. It said 50% of people in jail in the United States of America have antisocial personality disorder. And I'm sure it's not only United States, I'm sure it's in the whole world. Because over here, even we have a lot of jailbirds who have antisocial personality disorder. Where many people are locked up with that disorder. So there's a lot of aggression, a lot of rage, a lot of lack of empathy, responsibility, and all these things. So when I look at Bryan Kohberger, allegedly, if he committed these crimes, yes, I believe he is definitely in that category of ASPD. The reason I say that is you can see how brutal he is to have killed 4 people so brutally, so horrifically, and left the scene. He used his own father to be his companion so that he could go back to Pennsylvania after he committed 4 murders. Who in their right mind would use the mother or their father or someone they love in a situation where they've committed killed 4 people? He must have manipulated his father. He must have lied to his father. And they're very good charmers, very good actors. They could have cried and said it wasn't my fault and I did it maybe in self defense. These are just my words. Anything is possible because lying is a big part of antisocial personality disorder. When we come to the part of treatment, there isn't much treatment, honestly, for antisocial personality disorder. There is therapies that can be done. Therapies like CBT, because we deal with depression and anxieties, so we try and work with them in that sense, so that their PTSD, SD, or ADHD, or whatever comorbidities disorder they're suffering of, so that we try and help them in that manner. There are many people who are antisocial personality disorder who are SEX offenders. It's a known fact. So they have a separate kind of therapy. People with antisocial personality disorder never come to therapy. Never. They are usually sent by court, by the judge, or by a parent, or by a lover, a partner, a wife, a husband. Someone usually forces them or sends them to counseling. It's not like they just come and seek counseling. In fact, you see that with people who have personality disorders, but not like antisocial personality disorder, people who have disorders like borderline disorder. They are more committed to therapy and they seek therapy more. Another thing that I wanted to speak about is definitely, although I've said it 3 weeks ago before Bryan was arrested, I knew it was someone with antisocial personality disorder. But now when you look at Bryan and we read his